and welcome to Weekday. And I have some musical guests here today, Telephones, and we're going to take a look at one of their video songs and find out a little bit about the group. Joining me today are Steve Dirks and Jerry Dirks and Chris Dirks and Josh Diamond. And it's nice to have you all here today. And all together you make up Telephones. Nice to have you here. Let's start out by getting a little bit of background on the group. Steve, why don't you fill us in on which, now you three brothers, obviously.
We've known each other for a long time.
Who brainstormed this group, or how did this all start?
Well, we've all been playing together in various bands over the years, and so there wasn't any one particular starting point. It's been going on so long, it's just like a natural thing for us to play together. This particular band was originally started in the early 80s, and we went through a period of I guess success locally, and then we went to California for a while and came back and started up here again. So we've been playing together almost 10 years, really.
Wow.
Off and on.
Is there a musical background in your family? Where did you get the music? Where does the music come from, Jerry?
No, there really isn't that much of a musical background. I really don't know where it came from. I guess Steve and I started the interest in music, and then Chris came along on the drums a little bit later, but the actual genesis of the group probably started in a group called
Midday Swell.
No, the Criminals.
Oh.
We played around Richardson High School in the late 70s, and it was Chris and I and a different bass player named Rob Koch. And then when he left the band, he went on to Richland College. Steve decided to get back into music. He kind of got out of it for a while because we used to have bands, the two of us, before Chris played drums, and he decided to get back into it. We had a trio, and then the trio evolved into Telephones in the early 80s.
Wow. Does it work better with three brothers than it did with working with other people within a group? Is it easier to stay together if you're three brothers than it is? No?
Sometimes.
It has its advantages and disadvantages. We play, the three of us kind of have similar musical tastes and similar backgrounds, and we all kind of started along the same time, so that helps. You've got to have that to begin with. But sometimes it can get tough. But I mean, since we have the same musical interests, that helps.
Keeps it together.
You can't help but have some similar personality if you're brothers. Obviously, you're going to be kind of alike, so I think we get along. Even though we argue sometimes, it doesn't seem that serious as it would if it was a non-family member.
Somebody else. So Josh,
you're always going to be brothers, whether you're arguing or not.
Josh, how do you fit into all this? When did you hitch up with these guys?
I was up at a friend of mine was up at Richland College and saw a flyer. And these guys were looking for a keyboardist and told me about it, and I called him up and I auditioned, and here I am.
Wow.
And that was just fairly recently.
Yeah.
It was about a month and a half, 2 months ago.
2 months ago. It's been around about 2 months.
Is this your band debut, or have you played with other groups before?
I was with a copy band called Witness for a while. We played little small, high school parties and that type of thing. But I've really, I've been trying to get him into writing our own music and that type of stuff, but they never really, got into it as much as I did. So when I saw this, I just sort of jumped at it, and just pretty excited.
He's studied music for a long time as well as.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been.
He's actually more of the three of us. None of us read or write music. He's real talented in that area as far as technically, musically, reading and writing.
Yeah, I've been in the school band since 6th grade, and I've played piano for a while, and like that. So.
I'm a prodigy.
He has as much technique as we do.
Modern
More
Mozart.
experience. We just have more playing experience than he does, but we're not necessarily better musicians.
Well, Chris, what do you think about all this? And you're the drummer. How did you? What made you decide to join the two other brothers?
It's a good question.
You're going way from
I just enjoy playing music so much, and
nothing better to do.
Nothing better to do. Can't keep a steady job. Drinking problem? No, actually.
These guys are going to do it, so.
Yeah. Well, they told me that if I didn't join, they'd beat me up. So.
What made you decide on drums? Because they needed a drummer?
It really is that way. We need a drummer.
He plays bass. He plays guitar. And
I actually helped him get a drum set. I helped him buy his first drum set, kind of pushing because we needed a drummer.
Actually, they tried to start me when I was a little kid. They bought me a little drum set when I was about 5 or 6 years old.
They have an old whole movie of him playing this toy drum set back when he was about 6 or 7.
I don't know if there's a grand scheme to it really, but it just kind of worked out that way, and then kind of fell into place.
I just sort of picked it up and enjoy doing it. It's really a lot of fun. Can't think of anything else I'd rather do besides play music.
Well, we have a video that you did earlier here today in the studio. Let's take a look at that. This is called Video Studio. and this is Telephones.
Watching my life on videotape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm watching my life on videotape. Hey, and every city and every town down below me. All the children smile and wave just like they know me. I'm all just dreaming this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm watching my life on videotape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm watching my life on videotape. Hey, hey, wake up, turn on the stereo. Wake up, grab a bowl of Cheerio. Wake up, morning in a video city. This is a video city. Welcome to the video city. This is a video city. We all live in a video city. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm watching my life on videotape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm watching my life on videotape. Hey, hey, wake up, turn on the stereo. Wake up, grab a bowl of Cheerios. Wake up, morning in a video city. I say that this is a video city. Welcome to the video city. This is a video city. We all live in a video city. This is a video city. Welcome to the video city. This is a video city. We all live in a video city. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm watching my life on videotape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm watching my life on videotape. 2, 4, 6, 8. Videotape. Side video 6. There, say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm watching my life on videotape.
You know, really, that's usable.
All right. Now, Jerry, this is a song you wrote?
Yes.
You're the songwriter of the group.
Basically, yes.
Basically,
Yeah, I am, but it's pretty much a group effort. We all work together on the arrangements, so that the finished, what people actually hear, what I bring to the group and what the people actually hear, that's a totally different thing. Well, sometimes it's totally different, it depends. We all have our ideas on the arrangements, and some are used and some aren't. So there's input from everybody.
So where do you get the ideas for the songs? This is a great song.
Yeah, you mean that particular song?
Yeah, I like it.
I don't really know. That's kind of a mishmash of imagery, really. It doesn't, it's kind of like one of those things where you want people to kind of get their own image of what you're trying to say. You know, comment on the video society or whatever, you know. TV land.
Yeah, speaking of videos, that's something else that you do, Steve, is that you create videos. I think that you were recognized for Chuck Berry in Space. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I work in a little TV studio, very much like this one, and a little studio. And I've done some videos for my own music and for other groups in town, Cafe Noir, who you've had on your show, and Feet First and some other groups. And I put out a little video compilation of stuff I did for sale in local record stores.
How much?
$14.99.
$14.99.
It's real good
But
stuff.
wait,
Yeah, he's got made a name for himself in the video world.
So that's great. So not only you've got some music here, do you find that you need to balance some things out with music? Can you get burnt out on it if you don't have some other things going?
Yeah, we've all at certain times reached points of burnout, and you set it aside for a little while, but you always come back to it.
Yeah, we're kind of making a comeback in a way, I guess, because we moved out to Los Angeles about 5 years ago. The original group did, and then Chris and I were the only ones left after a couple of years. Steve went back, and our original keyboardist went back, Mark Griffin. So they didn't like LA, and things didn't work out there as well as we thought they would.
Yeah.
And so the 5-year period we were out there, Chris and I were still in various bands, but of the 5-year period, I would say we only really played music probably 2 or 3 years. We kind of sat around and did other things, and we decided to try to get it back together here in Dallas.
Mm-hmm. What's the big deal about LA? Is that where you have to go if you want to make it, or why would you pick up and go to LA?
Well, we thought so at the time when we left. We thought
Everyone thinks that. Yeah.
Yeah, we thought we had gone as far as we could in Dallas. That's where we thought we were a big fish in a small pond and really couldn't seem to get to the next step, which is what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
And we got out there and found out it's very difficult out there, and it's not necessary to move to LA. Really, there's a lot of competition, and the bands are just as good here in Dallas. It's just a matter of trying to get finding the right people to get behind you, getting the right people interested in you and believing in what you're doing. Whether you can do that easier in LA or out of Dallas, in some ways it might be easier to come out of a town like Dallas where you can get a bit of a high profile. Mm-hmm. You don't get lost in the maze like we did out there.
Wow.
Most musicians, we're musicians. We're not really businessmen. You need someone who's more of a businessman to do stuff for you. It is really a business out there, definitely. And that kind of hit us in the face when we got out there. How much you really do need to know people and need to have contacts and that sort of thing. And more of a game plan than we had.
Yeah. Well, we're going to go to a quick break at this point, but we'll be back and we'll talk some more with Telephones. So please stay with us. We'll be right back after this.